Those of you who heard me on Marco Coletti's stream will know that we discussed due process, and he didn't really get it about the importance of due process. I suppose most people don't. I've been trying to explain it to many people, and they don't really care. It's not something ordinary people who never had any dealings with the law would care about, and I suppose we should be grateful that most people have not been charged with a criminal offence. But if they were to have been charged with a criminal offence, they will be very grateful for due process, because due process is really going through the proper procedure to convict you. So, I mean, it's to protect your rights, so you don't, um, you know, you don't suffer from being the victim of a miscarriage of justice, so that you're properly charged, properly arrested, after you were properly arrested and properly tried and properly convicted for any crime you might have committed. And the most important thing about this is that it helps people, well, it makes people think that they will get justice when they go to court. And this is important because if they don't think they're going to get justice, then they're going to use violence, right? You don't want people killing each other over, a parking space or something. So what you want is for people to believe that they're going to get justice if they go to court. It really is as simple as that. Now, the reason people don't seem to care about it for celebrities or people they don't like, people with unpopular views, say Holocaust deniers, it's like, oh, we don't like them, so they don't deserve justice. There's actually a verse in the Quran that says, do not let your dislike for a person cause you to be unjust. Let me try and find you that verse. Aren't you impressed how I know the Quran? There you go. Chapter 5, verse 8. Full of good advice is the Quran. O believers, stand firm for Allah and bear true testimony. Do not let the hatred of a people lead you to injustice. Be just, that is closer to righteousness, and be merciful of Allah. Be mindful of Allah. Surely Allah is all aware of what you do. So it's saying, don't give false witness, even if you don't like the person that you are testifying about. Can you tell me the reason why this rule should prevail? You're not alone, the bird bather too. But maybe the second person is not responding, and maybe the others will come soon enough. But you can tell me, Erica, what do you think this rule is for? even if you don't like the person who is on trial, maybe it would please you that they were the victim of a miscarriage of justice. The whole idea is that, if it doesn't happen to your worst enemy, it doesn't happen to you either. And also, people can dislike you for a whole bunch of reasons, and some of them that might not be good reasons. And also, some of the reasons why they hate you might be because somebody has told lies about you. Maybe the gutter press has said terrible things about you, and you can't afford to sue them for libel, and everybody believes this libelous statement about you, and you can't do anything about it. And well, maybe they could, they might want to do something really mean to you, and maybe the really mean thing they could do is to convict you of a crime that you didn't do. So that's really what due process is, that, all the legal requirements have to be satisfied before somebody is convicted of a crime depriving him of his liberty or property or his reputation. And you might not care about Prince Andrew, and you probably think he's, randy Andy and he do, whatever. But the thing is, he shouldn't have to pay lots of money for any woman who is photographed with him to claim that because she was photographed with him, she must have had sex with him and therefore should pay millions of pounds. Erica asks, why are modern liberals so intolerant of others? Because they have no principles. This is the trouble with liberalism. It doesn't have an official handbook. So the principles of liberalism cannot be agreed on. And the media, the mainstream media, will not be, um, you know, inviting liberal intellectuals to say, well, what are liberal principles? They're not going to do that because they don't want to admit that liberalism is kaput. Because they think they stand for liberalism. And I'm saying it's been kaput for a while. That's why, they're so terrified of Trump, and, they basically use their presence in the political establishment to abuse their position and to do what they want without consultation, without debate, and shut people out by calling them racist and bashes and anti-Semitic. And it's been, well, disgraceful, really. And because the media has so much power, it can, well, paint a whole landscape that is made of lies just by repetition and speaking authoritatively. And people want to believe all these things. They don't check for anything. So if you listen to me on Marco Coletti's stream, you would know that he assumed Andrew to be guilty. And I was saying, look, he's only being accused of having sex with Victoria Giuffre when she was 17. He's not being accused of the other things. And presumably, he's being accused by her of that on that occasion because there's his photograph. That's that, without the photograph, there would be no link between Giuffre and Andrew. But I think that celebrities are often asked to have photographs taken of them, and their fans would, come up to them and then they, you know, have a photograph, like, of the arm around, of the celebrity's arm around, the person, to be extra friendly. And this is often done, and it doesn't mean that they have an intimate relationship. People pose. I've done the same thing myself. So it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that anyone of the opposite sex that you've been photographed with was someone you had sex with you. I think you know what I mean. So it's an unwarranted leaping to of a conclusion that cannot be proven conclusively. So the man's already got an alibi, and, well, she can't prove it. She can't prove it. And, well, that should be the end of the matter, right? In a morally ordered world. So that's what I was trying to say. I don't think he got it. He will say, well, what about this and what about that? And I say, well, he's not being charged about the whataboutery that you're talking about. So, Gary, I don't know. I didn't see, what comments did you put that I didn't read? I mean, he's deleted it, so. Yeah, I seem to remember you saying that I lack common sense or something, or I don't get it. Yeah, Gary Garner doesn't get due process either. And that's the point of this due process. Why don't you look it up? Why don't you look it up? It's nothing to do with wanting anybody to be innocent or guilty. It is not wanting people to be convicted of something that isn't even a crime. It's not a crime to have sex with a 17-year-old. Do you understand, Gary Garner? It's not a crime, so he shouldn't be convicted. Anyway, it's a civil case. So she's basically saying, you did this thing to me on such and such a date, and I have a photograph of you with your arm around me, and therefore you must have sexually abused me. That, I think, is the gist of it. Gary Garner has not been listening to the media and how they have presented the case, have they? You don't listen to BBC Radio 4, you don't listen to other media outlets. So I guess you don't know, but, I do listen to them, and it is outrageously biased. So what are you talking about, Gary Garner says, I'm not talking about him sleeping with a 17-year-old. What are you talking about? That's what I'm talking about. I mean, that's what she's saying. That's what she's basing her entire case on, because nothing else can be proven. I don't know the relevance about the sweating. What's the relevance about the sweating? I'm not going to be distracted by, all the minutiae of the case. I don't know the details of it. I'm just saying that if it isn't a crime to have sex with a 17-year-old, then What's the big deal? He didn't do anything wrong. So she's saying that he sexually abused her. Well, she's got to prove it. Why would anybody say, how many 20 years later that you had sexually abused her? And unless, yeah, she's just looking for a payout, yes, looking for a payout. And she's political activist, one of those, I guess, Me Too types or whatever, I don't know. But she's some sort of political activist. Well, show me the picture. Oh, but so what if he sweats, and so what if he doesn't, if he wasn't even there? So, well, somebody's got to. Well, I don't know what she's accusing him of. What, something going on in. What, he raped her? What? What did he say? We still don't know, and I guess a trial is going to be sometime next year. Imagine having this sort of thing hanging over you for the next year. Imagine members of the opposite sex having this power to destroy your life. I don't know, Gary Garner. I don't know about the sweating thing. I don't know what point it is that he is making. But, I guess we'll see what she is charging. Maybe I can find out what she is accusing him of. Victoria, Virginia, Giuffre. Married to an Australian, so I guess being an ex-prostitute is no. So in October 2019, on BBC's Panorama, Giuffre described her alleged experiences of being sex trafficked by Epstein for Britain's Prince Andrew. So, okay, that was in 2019. So she's accused Maxwell, she's accused Dershowitz, she's accused Andrew. And okay, let's go through all of them. Yeah. Okay. Let's just. Okay, I'll just read the Prince Andrew allegations. In December 2014, Florida court filing intended for inclusion in the 2008 Crime Victims' Rights Act lawsuit. Giuffre described being trafficked to Prince Andrew, Duke of York, at least 3 times when she was 17 in 2001 for rape. She claims that Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell took her to Trap, a nightclub in London where she met and danced with Andrew, and that later that night, while en route to Maxwell's Belgravia residence, Maxwell instructed Giuffre to do for Prince Andrew, what you do for Epstein. Is it Epstein or Epstein? I can't. She alleged Epstein paid her $15,000 to have sex with the Duke in London. Huh. Right. So she got paid. What's she complaining about? 15 grand? For what? How long do you think it took? Is there a principle at stake here? You got paid for the service. You got well paid for the service you gave to whoever, and now you want more. Oh, come on. A photo that shows Giuffre, Prince Andrew, and Maxwell in Ghislaine's apartment has been widely circulated since 2011. Prince Andrew's 10-year role as a United Kingdom trade envoy was terminated in July 2011, and he reportedly cut all ties with Epstein. Epstein or Epstein? When asked in 2011 whether Prince Andrew would have information, she told her lawyers, yes, he would know a lot of the truth. Again, I don't know how much he would be able to help you with, but seeing he's in a lot of trouble these days, I think he might. So I think he may be valuable. I'm not too sure of him. It doesn't mean much to me, that sentence. The second sexual encounter allegedly happened in Epstein's New York mansion. In court documents, Giuffre claimed that the third encounter with Prince Andrew was an orgy in Little St. James that involved her, several underage girls from Eastern Europe, the prince, and Jeffrey Epstein himself. Okay, that was a third encounter. In 2015, spokespersons for the British royal family stated that any suggestion of impropriety with underage minors is categorically untrue, later repeating the denials. Requests from Giuffre's lawyers for a statement under oath from the Duke about allegations were returned unanswered. In August 2021, Giuffre started a New York lawsuit against Prince Andrew, accusing him of sexual assault and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Really? What does that mean? Intentional? Oh, for God's sakes. Giuffre's lawsuit, which seeks unspecified damages, were brought before the New York federal judge Lewis A. Kaplan. In January 2022, Giuffre's former boyfriend Anthony Figueroa said on Good Morning Britain that Giuffre told him Epstein would take her to meet Prince Andrew. Figueroa alleged the meeting had taken place in London, prior to which she was really nervous and scared because she didn't know how to react to it. In a court filing, Prince Andrew's lawyers had previously referred to a statement by Figueroa's sister, Crystal Figueroa, who alleged that her bid to find victims for Epstein, Giuffre had asked her, do you know any girls who are kind of slutty? In the same month, Carolyn Andriano, who as a 14-year-old was introduced by Giuffre to Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein and was a prosecution witness in the trial of Maxwell, claimed in an interview that then 17-year-old Giuffre told her in 2001 that she had slept with Prince Andrew. 2000, Andriano stated, and Giuffre, said, I got to sleep with him. She didn't seem upset about it. She thought it was pretty cool. Well, Well, as far as I'm concerned, this prostitute got paid, so what's the problem? She got paid 15 grand. Not bad for a few minutes work, right? Epstein, says Erica. Oh, look, Harry, well, we're only concentrating on what Dufresne is accusing him of, not what he could have done with others. We have to be specific about what acts he's being called to account for. That's why you have to specify, whatever crime it is that you complain that you are a victim of. It can't be, oh, he didn't look at me, he, in a nice way, he didn't thank me afterwards, or whatever. I don't know what, can't find evidence of what? Can't find evidence. They can't prove it. I mean, look, what could happen is, girls saying, "Oh, well, I did have sex with him, and at the time I was only 13 or whatever." Okay, you're going to say it's okay. You don't think it's easy to find people prepared to say things like that? It's all going to be pretty unreliable. Stephen James, I'm not really doing it for the views. I think it's about the same usually. I mean, it's about average. Just doing it to go through a few things and and talk it through with people who might or might not agree with me. Yes, Erica, I know girlfriends who complain about sweat being dripped on them by a man during the sexual act. Oh, come on, Erica, what would you like to be paid 15 grand? 15 grand for a fuck? It's quite a lot, isn't it? Come on, Gary. Look, if you were him, could you resist? I mean, I think a lot of men will just say, well, probably not. And it's not like you're even looking. You have all sorts of women throwing themselves at you. I'll remember to say Epstein next time. I don't think there's any question of a prison sentence. It's only a civil case, isn't it? She just wants money. It's a civil case, so the penalty would be damages, right? I mean, that's what it is. Hmm. Hey, did you grab him by the pussy? it has been reported that he would walk around naked in front of a gas guest in the hallways of the palace. Okay. I know adults who like walking around naked in their own homes. Thank you, Stephen James, for saying, yeah, I know. If you were a prince, you'd walk around naked. You felt like it. So would I. Why shouldn't you walk around naked in your own home if that's what you want to do? And shock your guests if that's what you want to do. All right. So due process is important if you're charged with a crime, all right? And okay, I'm going to put it this way. I don't think Alison Shadow had committed a crime. All right, she mocked fake Holocaust survivors. But I don't think it was a crime. I don't think you should invent crimes that aren't on the statute book just to get people you dislike in jail. So obviously nobody cared about that. They think, oh, I know she mocked the Holocaust, she's a Holocaust denier, and therefore she deserved what she got. And I just want to, make it very clear that I don't think you should be convicted of a crime that you didn't do just because people didn't like you. Because, well, people can take a dislike to you for all kinds of reasons, got up by the gutter press. So I'm not going to condone it for a minute. I think people who are not nice, not I mean, well, obviously I don't. Okay, people who are not likable or who are disliked for their political views should not be deprived of due process and should not have crimes invented just to get them. And what I particularly dislike is that there is actually, where did hate speech come from? Where did, is there an act of parliament that says we were not allowed to say hate speechy things? You won't be able to find any authoritative act of parliament that says, hate speech is not allowed. It just came out of nowhere. I mean, where did it come from? Because, before all this, people said all kinds of things. You could say it came from social media, because it's all on record, whatever we say, we tweet, we post. And then they'll say, oh, that's hate speech. But where is there an act of parliament forbidding hate speech that even defined it? It just came from nowhere. So, for the rest of us, suddenly we can end up in jail, apparently, for saying things that we never thought was illegal. And you accept it. You all accept it. Why not question it? And I'm saying the gutter press can whip up a frenzy of emotion against people you dislike. So I stand by the right of princes and paupers walking around naked in their own homes if that's what they want, even if they have guests. I know people like that. Well, so I don't think crimes should just be made up. Particularly when it's not a crime. It's not a crime to have sex with a 17-year-old. So, okay, I know this woman claims that he raped her. Well, then she should have complained, right? She should have. Oh, but actually, she couldn't. He couldn't have raped her because she was paid. So, it was sexual intercourse with consent, right? Because she accepted payment, 17 grand. So it couldn't have been rape. So this woman wants to have it both ways. And if you people think it's okay because she's a pretty woman, or she manages to have convinced you, and you don't like Randy Andy because you don't like the way he walks around in Buckingham Palace naked, well, it won't end well for the rest of us. Long Wang, I haven't heard of that, Joe. Who's Gary, buddy? What are you talking about? All right. So that's what I'm going to say about due process. Right. So Stephen Tate is saying egg-shaped penis. Oh, egg-shaped. Is she saying he's not very well endowed? What does that mean? Egg-shaped. What are the most common penis shapes? Oh dear. No, I've heard. Oh dear, dear. The pencil penis is possibly the most common shape of penis. The thick penis, the thin penis, the curved penis, a mushroom penis, the cone penis, the banana penis. Thick and short, thin and short. Okay. Now I'm thinking, should anyone be able to say, "Oh, I know, it's got to be him because he has a particularly memorable penis, and I remember it from 20 years ago." Don't penis change shapes over the years? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, do you you think it's fair? It's like, I had sex with that man, and I think he has a. Let's see if I get lucky. I'll say he's got an egg-shaped penis, and maybe that's correct. And what? And then that. But she could just have made it up, right? She could have made it. Maybe it's not an egg-shaped penis; it's a banana-shaped penis, or whatever. Should any man be subject to this kind of thing? It's like, well, then you have to show your penis in court, but what, you're supposed to get it erect as well in court, right? Really? Maybe you can't get it up now after 20 years. So is this a sort of humiliation you relish enjoying, men? You think some ex-prostitute should be able to do that to any man, or just men you dislike? I've got a video to you. Okay, I guess we'll have to all watch it together. Hold on a minute.
Could you please give us your name?
Jeffrey Epstein.
Is it true, sir, that you have what's been described as an egg-shaped penis?
Form, vague, and definite, and I'm going to give you the first warning, Mr. Cuban, that these types of questions are not only argumentative, but directed in a manner to embarrass Mr. Epstein. If you continue with this type of question, I'll adjourn the deposition immediately.
Sir, according to the police department's probable cause affidavit, one witness described your penis as oval-shaped and claimed when erect it was thick towards the bottom but was thin and small towards the head portion, and called it egg-shaped. Those are not my words, I apologize. But as Mr. Critton has stated, that this is a... I'm willing to continue.
Well, it's a bit humiliating, isn't it? Rather worse than men, wondering what bra size you are. All right. I guess I've spoken enough on this occasion. Remember the crucial importance of due process if you want your liberty to be protected from false accusers who might want to extort money from you, see you in prison, make you get your tackle out and show it in court. That sort of thing. It's just something to consider.